Welcome back to Shop Talk. My name is Zach Ciota, and what I want to talk about today is a couple different drills, and really one aspect of those drills I thought was really interesting and something that had come up on some of our previous live streams on the HVAC Shop Talk live stream show. So I have two drills here. One of them is your standard Dewalt, just a 20 volt lithium ion drill. Nothing special, not a hammer drill. 2 speeds, nothing abnormal there. The second one is one I bought at Harbor Freight. And a lot of you guys know these drills now. They're new at Harbor Freight. They're Bauer 20 volt lithium ion. And this one actually is a hammer drill with 3 different settings. It has a hammer setting, a driving setting, and a drill setting. So there's 3 different settings on this drill. So it's a little bit different. It's not exactly apples to apples. It's a little bit different. But one of the things that had been brought up previously is that the battery platforms are interchangeable for these 2 drills. A buddy of mine, Shannon, was commenting on the live stream and said that he thought that these were interchangeable. So that made me very interested. Now, Brent with the Tool Pros podcast said this was not the case. So I thought we might buy each drill, kind of experiment with them for a little while, and then we can give them away on one of our shows as long as they don't get destroyed. Let's take a look at the drills. First of all, we're going to take a look at this bad boy. It's the Dewalt drill. Now, the technical name for this drill is the DCD771C-B1 Dewalt 20 volt lithium ion max drill. And what we're going to talk about today is the battery platform on these drills. Let's take a closer look here. You can see the size and shape of this battery. We're going to take it off. Look very closely at the terminals. As you can see, there's 5 terminals right there. And we are also going to pay special attention to the outer terminals, which is B plus and B minus. That's where I'm going to measure voltage here in a second. So you can see the general shape of the battery. There's a switch here. This little cleat comes down. That's how it locks into place. So let's do a quick measurement of voltage. Check that, and then we'll move on to the other drill. Right here, I have an Ames multimeter. A lot of guys in the HVAC community know that this multimeter looks a lot like the Redfish meter. But this is definitely not the Redfish meter, although it is one of the nicer meters that Harbor Freight sells. So I wanted to get this sucker and test it too, and test it against the Redfish, which we'll do at a later date. And I believe the Redfish name is the IDVM 550. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember the model number for this one right here, but this is the one that's sold at Harbor Freight for around $100. And I do believe it is their most expensive meter. We're going to set this thing on DC volts and test the power output on this battery between the B plus and B minus terminals. We're looking for voltage, and since this is a 20 volt drill, we're looking for basically 20 volts. So I'm going to put the leads on the battery. We'll see what we get. These were very difficult to actually test. The Bauer battery was a little bit easier because of the tightness of these terminals here and here. It's hard for me to get these standard leads in there. So what I did was I got some adapters, which I used in HVAC when I was a tech. I put them in there. We got it on there, and we have 20 volts basically. As a reminder, that's between the B positive and B negative terminals on the battery. Now we're going to compare that a little bit with the 20 volt Bauer drill and its battery. The model number for the Bauer drill is the 1792C-B1. And I believe the drill-only version of this, the one that's not a hammer drill, is the 1791C/B1. Almost positive. And this drill cost me about $74. The Dewalt drill cost about $100. I did purchase a 2-year warranty on this drill from Harbor Freight. It cost $15, which puts the cost about the same. And I asked the people at the counter, I will not lie to you, if I brought back a pile of mushed up plastic that was still burning, they said they would take it back. So there you go. So let's take a look at the battery on this drill and compare and contrast. The form factor on this battery is a little bit different. So that's one of the things I ran into, the reason why it was very difficult to see if these were going to be compatible just from fitting them together, because the form factor of the battery themselves, maybe not the actual voltage rating or terminals on the inside, but the actual form of the casing of the battery. Just like on the Dewalt battery, we have a B positive and B negative on either side. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to put those connectors in there just to make it a little bit easier. As you can see, we are also reading 20 volts there on the same terminals. And these terminals seem to line up perfectly with each battery, meaning the batteries themselves look very similar when you put them side to side. 5 terminals here, 5 terminals here. The cleats look very similar, as you can tell. Let's get a little bit closer. As you can see, the cleats are basically in the same location. There's a little bit different form factor in this area, and what I found out was that there's a couple things that they have done to make sure these aren't compatible physically. There's a little slot on the bottom of the Bauer drill that prevents the Dewalt battery from sliding into place. I actually removed that slot so I could see if I could then get it into place, but there's another thing preventing it, and it's the shape of this battery just prevents them from fitting together. Now, my theory is beyond that, you could probably run either drill off of this battery because it seems like for the most part it's very similar, but they just made the physical shape incompatible with each drill. Even when I tried to make a few modifications, and what I could do, and I'll show you, if you look at the Dewalt battery, it's very close to fitting this ridge on the drill. If it was trimmed up, it probably would fit together, and I'm guessing it would work. And I was tempted to do that, except for I wanted to give this drill away. But they just made a few steps here that made it so these drill batteries were not compatible with the opposite drills. But I will tell you this, it looks like they are so similar that my theory is they would work if I shaved this off a little bit. So why are we testing drills like this? Why are we answering questions? Why do we have these meters like this from Harbor Freight? I'm always curious to see if stuff from these stores like this will measure up against these proven brands. Like, would you buy the Ames or the Redfish versus the Fluke? Would you buy Bauer versus Dewalt, or even Bauer versus a lesser brand? A lot of guys think, even though I like Ryobi, a lot of guys consider that below brands like Milwaukee and Dewalt. And I can sort of understand that. I just always had good luck with Ryobi. But let's say Bauer versus something like Skill or Ryobi, something like that. How would they compare? What do you guys think? We'll investigate more about these tools like this. This is a little bit more about the change in this channel. We're going to have a few new content sources, more just general tool stuff, because I love tools, man. Tools are great. I would love to do some of the woodworking stuff I used to do and have an outlet for that. I think that'd be really fun. And we'll still keep that same content HVAC-wise, so you won't lose any of that either. But I love talking tools, guys. I love comparing these tools. What do you guys think of this comparison? What would you like to see compared? And I'll see if we can do that. Each month I'll bring a few of these tools in. We'll work with them a little bit. We'll test them a little bit, and then we'll send them out to you as far as giveaways. So also, don't be afraid to say, I want this tool, Zach. Not just I want to test it. I want it. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed the show. Leave a comment below. It always helps if you comment on the video. Show us a like if you like it. Give us a dislike if you thought it was horrible, which is okay. Subscribe if you haven't, and if you have subscribed, please hit the bell. It makes a big difference. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.